You know, Trump and MAGA has this one thing about owning the libs, and they think that if they inflict as much pain on libs, the people they consider libs or progressives or blue states or blue counties, whatever it is, they believe inflicting as much pain in them is what gives them pleasure. I know it sounds arcane, but it's what gives them pleasure. Well, it turns out, you know, when I was growing up, there was always this saying in our culture that if you are going to be digging a grave for somebody, you better dig two. But in the case with MAGA, if you're going to dig a grave, make sure it is right-sized for yourself. Because as it turns out, most of what you are doing to harm those people who have no malice or ill intent against you, you just hate them because Donald Trump and the right wing has told you to hate them. Well, you know what? In doing so, what they're doing is telling you in hating them, what we're going to do is actually going to hurt you. So that grave that you're digging is not for the libs, it's for yourself. I want you to listen to Jen Psaki, who kind of breaks it down with what these guys are doing to themselves.
But I wanted to start tonight with what I kind of think is one of the unifying principles of this administration. And that is basically their myopic view on owning the libs. And by that, they mean doing anything they can to offend, humiliate, or destroy things that anyone left of Sean Hannity may possibly care about. I mean, Donald Trump visited the Kennedy Center for a board meeting today after seizing control of it and making himself the new chair. What a good use of time for a president. Lots of people perform there. They're not political, but to Trump, it was too woke and needed to be straightened out. So yes, to own the libs, Trump is basically destroying the Kennedy Center. People are refusing to perform there anymore. And he basically said so himself today.
We'll make it great again, but it is so much like what I'm witnessing in other places. We have open borders. We have men playing in women's sports. It's all the same thing. It's all the same mentality and thinking.
It's all the same mentality and thinking. The Kennedy Center, the culture wars, actual policy of any sort, it's all the same thinking to Trump. And it's exactly the same thinking when it comes to the way he and Elon Musk are gutting the federal government. I mean, take NOAA, which is the agency responsible for things like forecasting our weather and tracking climate trends and responding to extreme weather events. Most people accurately see it as an apolitical tool for knowing what the weather is going to be outside, which, hey, we all rely on. A place where a bunch of science nerds prepare for natural disasters. That's what happens in that building. But Project 2025 labeled it as, quote, one of the main drivers of the climate change alarm industry. Think about how absurd that statement is. This is an agency made up of scientists who are literally measuring and predicting weather patterns, some of which are caused by, yes, the climate crisis, and they're destroying that agency. That's the goal. That's front and center for the Trump team. That's what they're trying to do. Now, over the past few weeks, the Trump administration has slashed hundreds of NOAA staff, including people responsible for producing critical weather forecasts and maintaining radar systems, and they're not done. The agency is tasked with cutting an additional 1,000 jobs, which means 10% of its workforce. See, to Donald Trump and his buddy Elon Musk, NOAA is just another woke agency that stirs up climate hysteria. And so it's one of the agencies that has found itself in their crosshairs. But here's the thing. When devastating tornadoes swept across the country this week, it actually wasn't coastal Democrats in their path at all. It was states like Mississippi and Arkansas and Alabama and Missouri, states that would definitely not self-identify as woke in any way, and states that would definitely benefit from a fully operational and fully staffed and fully funded NOAA. What about FEMA, which provides essential tools for cleaning up and rebuilding after devastating storms, like the ones we also saw last week and this week? Trump and Elon Musk claim the agency is a political tool wielded by Democrats during disasters. I don't even know what they mean by that exactly. So guess what they've done? They've cut jobs there too. And Trump has even mused about shutting it down altogether. That's how they're owning the libs, I guess, right? I mean, that's their approach. But guess which states get the most recovery funding from FEMA and the Department of Housing and Urban Development? Well, states like Louisiana and Florida and Texas, not exactly target Democratic states, those ones typically. Notice the theme here? See, the things they've already done and things they're planning to do actually hurt red states more than blue states. They're trying to own the libs, but they're actually hurting Trump voters. The people they are hurting the most are in the very states that voted to put Trump in the White House. And we're seeing this everywhere all the time. It's happening every day. They're hurting red states by working to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act, even though 80% of the investments are in Republican districts. They'll continue to hurt people who voted for them if they go after Social Security, which 1 in 5 Americans across every single state rely on. And they'll hurt lots of proud MAGA members if they go after Medicaid. In one Appalachian county in Kentucky, almost 90% of the residents in Harlan County voted for Trump, and almost half of them receive Medicaid. One woman relying on a Medicaid-funded treatment program for addiction told the Washington Post, if it were to go away today, I would be homeless tomorrow. I would lose everything, all my counseling, all my treatment. If Trump takes the things that they're saying, it's going to be devastation for Eastern Kentucky for sure. And you don't have to just to take her word, or my word for that matter, for it. Here's Steve Bannon.
A lot of MAGAs on Medicaid. I'm telling you, if you don't think so, you are dead wrong. Medicaid's going to be a complicated one. Just can't take a Medex to it, although I would love to.
The point is, that guy is not exactly known for his empathy. He's not really a super empathetic guy, but he understands the political reality of Medicaid and other issues too. Trump is also hurting red states with his beloved tariffs. He loves those tariffs. According to New York Times analysis, nearly 8 million Americans work in industries targeted by tariffs, and the majority are Trump voters. The jobs that could be hit by retaliation are especially concentrated in pockets of the upper Midwest, South and Southeast, including many rural parts of the county that are responsible for producing agricultural goods. And again, don't take my word for it or their word for it. Here's Mike Pence.
The truth is, when it comes to tariffs, the importer here in the United States pays the tariff. The foreign country doesn't pay the tariff. More often than not, passes along the increased costs on that product to the consumer. Too often I hear the administration talking about broad-based unilateral tariffs that I think will ultimately work against American jobs, American families, and American business.
There you heard it, Mike Pence. See, what's becoming increasingly clear is that in this broad effort to own the libs, Donald Trump is actually owning his own voters. You wonder why Republicans don't want to hold town meetings out there.
So yes, it seems like what Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and all these others are doing, instead of really dramatically affecting the libs, the progressives, it's really going to harm MAGA, rural people, more than anything else. Sometimes, again, your hate can cause you to do all the wrong things. Your hate from putting a woman in office, your hate from putting a woman of color in office, because that hate has caused you to do something you know was best for you. But you chose otherwise, and now we've made the entire country to pay the price, but specifically you that voted this thug into office more so than anyone else. What gives? Well, I suggest right now we all work together to ensure that these guys are unable to fulfill the wishes that you thought was actually going to affect the other and not you.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.